Bonjour.
How you doing, man?
Not too bad. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CrowCast episode 21. Incredible. We have the legend that is Sir Bernie Marsden on later on. Incredible, bud. 21, Bernie Marsden.
21 weeks, isn't it, man? It's unbelievable, mate. Especially when we started it, it was just an idea, keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of had that kind of look back the other day when we confirmed Bernie and it was all sorted. And I don't know, I was thinking, bloody hell, like considering that first episode, have you looked back at that yet? Or
No, I'm afraid to.
oh, it's weird. Yes, it's like your first gig, or it's like your first band practice. It was fucking shit. we're still not amazing, but oh no, you could see the effort was there. Or it was just so funny, like the lighting, and then I watched a couple more, then like about 3 or 4, and then it was funny then to see Shiner with sunglasses on one of them, and
Yeah.
yeah, just watching how the weeks kind of, and the one with Mikey, and Jesus Christ, that seems like ages ago, doesn't it, man? It's like,
It does, bud. And something like dawned on me today when we put up obviously the tour and stuff. People are sort of saying, "Oh, I hope the CrowCast keeps going." And yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can do that from Europe, but yeah, it's become a huge part of our lives right now. 21 weeks, incredible.
yeah, I mean, yeah, touching on what you said there, when we did the Planet Rock thing up in Birmingham, because that's a really good
Yeah,
segue to kind of say that. I know a couple of people said, "How are you going to keep it going? It's going to
yeah,
be harder," and you are right, mate. Like I think that the heart is there. If we were Foo Fighters, Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, I don't think it would be a problem because your situation is made for you, isn't it? You know,
mm,
they'd probably hire you a bloody studio so you could go in and do a CrowCast.
yeah,
But realistically, some of the tours we're gonna be in hotels. We've been in them before. You don't know how good the Wi-Fi is, so we'll have to kind of see in it week by week. But we're definitely here for the coming, well, foreseeable future until things get really out of hand, or until it becomes, unmanageable. I think that's the best way. Because now, like, life's getting back to normal with the boys. We got band practice again tomorrow.
mm,
That was Lush last week. We were back in Cardiff for the first time, wasn't it? Like, so
yeah, yeah. First time.
um big shout out to Music Box. They're doing a blinding job there. And fair play to them. They've managed to survive through it all. They've had to really adapt and make sacrifices, so there's not as many bands coming through.
Mm,
And then we had Mole come down, didn't we, to kind of play around with our in-ears. That was fab. So it was yet again, it was just something cool. But I don't know, as I'm saying that to you now, I'm thinking, Christ, can you imagine putting a European tour on top of that, or a UK tour with it's like Jesus.
yeah, I mean, if we can, we will. That's for sure. Like you said, we just love the feedback we're getting from people. So and to find ways to kind of communicate with you all. Like I said, if we can, we will definitely. It's just whether it's feasible, as you said, with technology, Wi-Fi, and everything out there. So yeah, who
Yeah,
knows?
man. Well, the next couple of weeks are booked, so we're definitely doing it for a few more weeks anyway. That's guaranteed. So
Yeah.
phenomenal. How's your week been, but you been good?
Yes, pretty good. I went away for a couple of days with the kids and stuff, which was really cool. Down to West Wales. Beautiful down there. We had stunning
Mm.
weather until yesterday where there was thunder and lightning and stuff. But yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Good to get away. Bit weird because there were lots of people around and it was the first time I kind of ventured out that way. Um, but everyone was pretty, sensible. It was good. It was good. What about you, bud?
Yeah, pretty much the same. A lot of beach walks this week.
Mm,
Been trying to keep up on the exercise. Wife's jumped on that as well. So we're trying to eat better, and we've enjoyed just late night strolls. So we've been trying to kind of mix it up so it doesn't become the same all
yeah.
the time. So where we went to Puthcall a few times, and obviously being a bit more local, we know, like, your Newton beaches, and
Mm,
if you go far right to Rest Bay, you've got like Pink Bay and stuff. So we've been kind of trekking down that way. And then same as you, weirdly, we didn't go as far, but we ventured down to Mumbles for the first time. Christ, gotta be 15 years, gotta be like
Really?
10, 15. Mate, that long. Honestly now, like when I was talking to Claire, I don't know, Puthcall's always our go-to because she's from down that way originally anyway. It's kind of like that's always the go-to to Puthcall. Oh, I like Ogmore by Sea or Southern Down. So they're always the go-tos. But it was really nice to get down Mumbles. And then we did that really cool thing of we left Mumbles and just decided not to put sat nav on, turn left and just see where it took us. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think I said to you, we ended up finishing the adventure at Port Einan, which I've never been down there before. And yet again, the lanes are beautiful and the scenery going down to it. What a beautiful part of the country, man. It's like, so.
It is stunning, but I mean, majority of Wales is stunning. It's especially down west. It's incredible. The
Yeah.
beaches, it's just, they're some of the best in the world. Amazing.
Yeah, and especially having the time we've had lately. I know it's kind of like the go-to or the buzzword of a staycation, but it's just been really cool to just go parts of Wales where you don't normally get the time to, like, do you know what I mean? Or venture out to places that you always see your mates putting up on socials and thinking, oh, I'll go there next week or I'll go there next year, and you never bloody get that time, like, you know. So it's just been lush doing that, man. And I got many more mapped out now. I've kind of I've done that sad thing of, right, where are we going to go next, or where else is on the tick list, like, you know. So and yeah, and it's the lush thing where we are with the band now, man. When we're getting all the work done, we're smashing that out with the writing and practicing and everything like that. It's kind of like, right, wicked. It feels like, well, I can have a break now and you can just shoot off in the car or meet up with friends and stuff. So very cool.
Love it, but
yeah.
Well, you got a map. You were like with a red pen. Been there.
Not quite that yet, but secretly, yes. I keep bringing it up on my phone going, so I went a fish guard years ago. Fish guard, you remember that old what is his name? Fish guard. Old Barry something, wasn't it? It was on, was that Welsh TV or
Barry Webb? Was it Barry
used to do the weather or something, didn't he?
Oh, I can't remember. Barry something, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm on about. It's like, yeah. So we're gonna go down that way. And Haverfordwest, gonna spend a bit of time down by there. It's just gonna be a lot of like you said, West Wales trips. And maybe venture up. There's some nice reservoirs up towards Mid Wales. So I'm gonna have a little look at that. But that just definitely that when we've got a couple of days spare, right, you know, jump in the car and off you go, like 3-4 hours. Thing is, when you travel like we've been in a van for 8 hours, just going 2.5, 3 hours up the road is nothing, isn't it?
Nothing. That's right, bud. It's nothing. Darren Griffiths, Barry John. That was his name. Barry John.
Barry John, that's it, mate. I thought he was a rugby player as well, wasn't he, Barry John? Barry John, do you remember? Yeah, he's good Welsh rugby player he was back in the day.
There we go.
So I've been told. A lot of evenings off everybody. Llangranog. Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to go down there, B. That's there's loads of little spots, even though we're from Wales. I haven't had the chance to Barry Welsh. There we are, that's who it is. Darren Griffiths. Well done. 10 points, Darren Griffiths.
How did we not get that? Barry Welsh. How did we not get that? That is absolutely call it a day now. Forget CrowCast 22. How did we not get that? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. But otherwise, great week. And like I said, great to be in a rehearsal room with you and the boys. Can already see things are moving quicker rather than this bloody Skype jam kazam way of things. It's just easier to get in a room sometimes, thrash it out, and get the endorphins flowing, innit?
That's it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm absolutely roasting you. Yeah. I'm in a sauna here. It's boiling.
Me too, mate. Literally sweaty hands.
Towel and everything.
You got some birthday shout outs and stuff?
Yes, we got a few birthdays. We got Jack Charles. He's 13 on Thursday. Big love from your mum and dad, and obviously, yes, CROWS. Jack Charles, 13. Good drummer, he Ron. He's getting it. He's
Fantastic, mate. He's after my job as well.
Yeah, they all are.
They all
Probably
are.
the same Mike as well. Mikey Evans. Mikey Evans. The legend that is Mikey Evans, co-founder of Steelhouse Festival. It was the big 5-0 on Saturday, just gone. Happy birthday, brother. We hope you had a banger.
Happy birthday, Mikey.
As us Welsh would say, hope what a banger, buddy. We've also got Gareth Alford from the band Who Knows Diddley. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, dude. Happy birthday, Gar. Hope you have a good one, bud.
Happy birthday.
And we've also got the legend that is Dean Wood. That's Lloyd's dad. It's his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Dean. Happy birthday, bud. That's the birthdays.
Awesome, mate. Absolutely awesome. Well, it's that time. Should we bring in a guest? I've been busting to speak to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guy does not need an introduction, but we kind of does to get on CrowCast. The legend that is, he should be a sir by now, Mr. Bernie Marsden.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you, boys?
How we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We're sweating a little. Is it warm where you are? It's absolutely boiling here.
Yeah, only about 32 degrees today, I think.
Yeah.
Not used to it, are we?
No.
Especially with your hair. Like if I had hair like
I know. It was dark this morning. Look what's happened.
Thank you so much for joining us, Bernie. It's a real pleasure and honor to have you on, mate.
I'm glad that there's me being terrified of technology a couple of weeks ago when you first contacted me, and I'm saying, I don't know if I can do that. And now look at here we are. It's great.
Incredible. So you're at home then, mate, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in my kitchen.
Wow. That's a nice stone wall in your kitchen. Ooh.
Yeah, it's very basic.
I got the same features throughout the house, Bernie. Old stone walls, beautiful it is. With the beams.
Yeah, battlements everywhere. Yeah, sure.
Yes. How have you been keeping, Bernie, throughout the lockdown and everything? How have you been?
Well, thankfully, I'm okay. Everybody's good. Everybody's getting kind of stir crazy, and I talk to mates all over the world, keeping in contact with the guys, and everybody's in the same boat, really. And that you guys are feeling it, as much as anybody. And I think the worst part is not having anything to look forward to gig wise, to know that you're going to be playing in Fishguard, or I have been watching, I have been listening, and I'd love to be playing in Fishguard. But I like to play in Wales anyway, you know that.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Yes. You are the legend of the mountain.
It's Bernie Fest.
Yes.
Yes, Bernie Fest. What kind of happened with you when it all like with us? Our record came out in February. We just did a couple of runs of dates. We had plans to go into Europe. This was the whole big push for us, and then obviously everything kind of halted. What kind of happened with you? Did you have anything lined up? Did you?
Yeah, I had some gigs lined up in the UK in I think it was May. Maybe it was 7 to 10 shows. I can't remember. Then I had the usual festivals booked in all through, the summertime. And of course, everything just was everything's been put back a year, really, like everybody else. And I had a book tour booked as well because my book is being reprinted. So the publishing company wanted me to do a couple of weeks of that as well. That's also been rescheduled as well. I was really looking forward to all of those because I look back on 3 or 4 shows now back in January, and it seems like in another world, which was fantastic. But I'm just part of like everybody else, and I'm fortunate enough not to have to, to be, absolutely dependent on gigs and stuff, because I can choose whether I want to do stuff or not. So I do really feel for everybody else, especially with guys like you, when you've worked on an album, you get it out, you get your press together, you get your tour together. Chris Chris Barris. I know he had his whole thing ready, and he was an early victim of it because I think he'd booked a tour based around some pretty big shows in Italy. And of course, Italy was the first thing to go down, and that consequently caused him to then cancel the rest of his European tour. So I guess you guys are in a similar position, and that's just, you can't get that time back. All we can do is look forward to when we can play.
Yeah, that seems to be the story of our lives at the moment. This rescheduling or sadly cancelling, because as you know yourself, we've learned this. Everything moves pretty much a year ahead when you're planning your cycles and your touring. And sadly, there's certain things that we can't reschedule because we had other things in place. That's the nature of the beast. Because that elevation, that step up, and the same with Chris.
If venues, the venues have to be booked in advance, and now there's of course the problem with how many venues are going to survive, and so it's a whole new picture really, which I'm sure everybody will pull together and do everything we can to get back and get the first and foremost the fans out there to go to a gig. That's the most important thing, apart from people's health, of course.
Yeah.
No, I can't wait to get back out there on stage, and because we obviously did the Planet Rock live stream thing, and it was great to be back on stage. But when you haven't got that crowd in front of you, it is so strange. And I don't think we realize just how much we feed off the crowd as a band, a live band, how much we get the crowd involved until they're no longer there.
Until they're not there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think anybody will ever take it for granted again. Once we do get back to doing it.
Well, I think you're absolutely 100% right. But I tell you what I have enjoyed, Bernie, is that you on Instagram showing like your guitars, your collection of guitars, and talking about them and stuff. How many guitars have you got?
Yeah. Ask my wife. Too many, she'll say. I always give it sounds a bit glib. I say more than 100, less than 200.
Right.
But wow. I'm not even in the same league as the Joe Bonamassas of this world and stuff. I just have a lot of guitars because over the years, I've been a collector. But first off, I was just wanted to buy a guitar really. And when we used to be in America a lot, you'd buy 3 guitars because they were relatively cheap, right, knowing you would sell 2 when you got back in order to keep the one you like the best, which sounds very nice these days. But for every 50 really tasty vintage guitars I would have probably had 150 or 200 anyway. But I'm not complaining. I've got some nice ones. So what was the first guitar you bought? The first guitar I bought, you mean as a pro or to begin with? To begin with. The electric guitar was a Hofner Colorama. Yeah, it cost 32 guineas. But you don't even know what guineas are, do you? No. You don't know anymore. I got it from the very famous shop all through the 60s into the 70s in London called Selmer's. And they were the importers of Gibson and Fender and Gretsch guitars. They were the only guys who had those guitars in the country. Wow. And the cheap end of it were these German Hofner guitars, which were basically, affordable at the time. And I remember saving up my pocket money and my paper round money and stuff, and then getting my dad to come down and sign the paperwork for the money left over. And that was it. Off I was going. But that guitar for the 32 guineas, within about a year, was paying for itself every weekend. So it was a good move. Yeah. So how old are you then? How old were you? I was about 15 and a half, 16. Wow. Yeah. Maybe a bit younger. Pardon? So did you learn through someone else teaching you, or was it? No, that would have been a luxury. When I was a kid, especially, I'm from a very small area, from a very small town, and I played the guitar. There was a couple of guys older than me who were in groups. Didn't even call them bands in those days. And I would go around and watch them play in pubs, peer through the window. Got to know one of the guys, but it was like I might as well have been talking to Eric Clapton or something, because this guy was a god to me. Yeah. And I watched him play, and then I got the guitar and I tried to copy where his hands were, and I started to play Holly's songs or something like that. And I realized I could do it. Whether it was correct or not is highly unlikely, but I know suddenly that I could play these things and it sounded okay. And I was much better than the other guy, not the older one, but there were a couple of guys my age, and I knew I was better than they were, So the ego had kicked in very early.
That was before you even owned a guitar. You knew you could play that guitar.
I think I was, when I was a kid, younger than that, I would go to lots of my cousins. I come from a fairly big family, and I would go to their weddings, and they, God bless them, they always had a live band. And I remember seeing guys who, I thought one band was the Shadows for sure, because the guy could play Apache, and he had a red Stratocaster, and I thought, well, that must have been the Shadows. I couldn't think of anybody else. That's how naive or, how young I was, really, because I think what was Apache, I'd be like 10 years old or something. So,
wow.
But that stayed with me, the fact there was a live, 4 or 5 guys on a stage singing and playing, and that stuck with me, because there's nobody in my family, with a musical background. It must have just gone in and stayed in.
Wow. It's funny you say Apache. That was one of the first songs my dad used to play guitar. And that was one of the first songs me and him kind of did. He did the rhythm, and I did the Marvin sort of lead. That's funny. It's mad you brought that up.
Difficult to play.
Well, yeah. But so you just picked it up. No musical influences from your family.
Yeah, well, after the Shadows, because I was, like I say, I was fairly young, and then when the Beatles kicked in and all the Mersey beat thing, and there on the black and white screen on a weekend usually, there's these guys all having guitars, and I'm thinking, wow, I want to do that, And so I bugged my folks, and I got an acoustic guitar, which was, as usual, like everybody else, was pretty awful. But I learned to play, I think it was either the theme from Z-Cars or from Coronation Street. And my mum and dad said, my mum said, oh, do that again. And I went, oh, yeah, I'm really good, And the moment they said, yeah, you're quite good. And the moment they said those words, I said, can I have an electric guitar? So it was a bit of a fait accompli, really. But they were great. They supported me and encouraged me,
Wow. So when did you join your first band, Bernie?
At school, I was in a band with really old guys. They were all about 21, 22. I was 14, I think, 14 and a half, something like that. And they were all then getting to 22 saying, oh, well, I got to leave the band soon because I'm going to get married and I've got to settle down. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you want to get married when you can play the guitar or the drums, So I was hanging out in bad or good company and decided, I watched these, what I thought at the time were, very decent musicians just sell their guitars because they were getting married. I thought, that ain't going to happen to me, and luckily it didn't.
Wow.
And did it evolve from there? Did you start?
Well, yeah, I stayed in that band, and then once I got, I could play stuff like the guitar part to Detroit City, Tom Jones's hit. Don't know
yeah.
But it's a kind of a tricky little thing, But I could do that, and then people in the pub when I'm 15 and a half or something, they would go, "How do you do that? Show me how you do that." And this other guitar, and then this hero of mine stopped one day and said, "Show me how to play this particular guitar part." And I'm hang on, the roles are reversed here. What's going on? You're the man. And he said, "Oh no," he said, "not anymore." And it kind of, so a bit of a light went on, I think, in the back of my mind to say, well, you can do this, And after that, I had a few jobs. I left school. I had a good mentor at school by default, really, to be honest with you. You'll have to read the book to find out the story. But she was very important because she basically said, look, the only thing you're any good at is playing the guitar. So make a career of it. And in 1967, there wasn't many teachers telling you to do that.
Yeah.
So she was a big influence, and I did stick with it. I also saw her at a Cream concert. I went to see the Cream one night, and she was there, and she pushed me in the back, saying, "What are you doing out here at this time of night?" kind of thing. And she gave me a lift home that night with my mate. So, destiny, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but so from there into the local bands, and I got headhunted by a bigger local band and then a bigger local band, until then I started to hear this guy, this up-and-coming guitar player from America called Jimi Hendrix. And I'm thinking, that's what I want to do. And all the guys in the band I was playing in, they were into the tremolos, and I really wasn't very much. And I wanted to play Foxy Lady, and they didn't. So sooner or later, I was going to leave and form my own band, which was pretty awful. But at least we were all, of the same mind. And we rehearsed by phone, really, with albums. So the track 2 from Hendrix, track 3 from John Mayall, track 4 from Steppenwolf, or whatever it was at the time,
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when was the turning point where you actually stopped with the covers and started writing your own material and hooks? And
Well, I had a band called Skinny Cat, which was the local heroes, really. And I was a big fish in a very small pond by that time. But I knew that if I wanted to be turn pro and go, I had to do it properly. And I knew I was going to have to go on my own. In fact, with the drummer, bless him, he always said, you got to go. You're like a runaway train kind of thing. And that's when I joined UFO in 72, 73. So that's the turning point. That's when I go into as becoming a professional player with UFO. And I thought everything was going to be glorious from then on, but it didn't really work out like that.
How long did you stay with UFO, Bernie?
About 20 minutes. It's about 8 months. And there's a lot about it in my book. And I'm sorry, I just keep trying to plug the book, but
no, good.
About it.
Yeah,
no, keep plugging.
Yeah, carry on.
Well, the book's called "Where's My Guitar," but it's not just a chronicle of everything went on, but there's a lot of story. So a lot of people don't even know I was in UFO, and that was a bit of a deal when it all came to an end. Well, I was with them about 8 months, and I'm indebted to them. We didn't get along at the time when we were all kids. That we were really chalk and cheese as people. But without the experience I gained with them, going straight to Europe, playing through Germany, Austria, Switzerland, into Italy, then I would never have gone on to do the stuff. So I look back on it now with much, more tinted glasses, really. It wasn't so terrible as I thought it was, but at the time I thought it was, because you think everything's going to be like, Hard Day's Night, really. And it wasn't, but they did me a great service by taking me on, and giving me the gig at the time. I joined a band called Wild Turkey after that, which was a couple of Welsh guys in the band, we'd call. And from then, Wild Turkey, there's Cozy Powell and Babe Ruth and into Pace Ashton Lord, and then the other band. What are they called? Oh, yeah, Whitesnake. Yeah.
What? Let me stop you there. What was it like working with Cozy Powell, mate? What was the...
Cozy was an incredible person to work with. Great bloke, and he was best man at my wedding. We talked about motor racing and soccer as much as we talked about music, really. And he was that kind of guy, and he didn't have any airs and graces. He knew how good he was. He got in the studio with him, this incredible drum sound. And I would be in the studio looking around thinking, wow, I'm playing with Cozy Powell. And I would make a couple of mistakes. And he would just look at me and go, what are you doing? Get on with it, will you? That kind of attitude. And if you made a mistake on stage or he didn't like something, then watch out, because he was very accurate with a drumstick. And it was just fun to be around, and he was a wonderful musician to play with. And you talk to anybody, and I can't believe how long it is since we lost him, but an incredible influence on me as a person and as a musician within the business, as much as being a player. The way that he was treated and the way he treated people has had a lasting effect on me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Did you so then you went on to found you were a founding member of a little band called Whitesnake.
Founding member. That came out of Pace Ashton Lord, because I was working with John Lord and Ian Pace, that was another big step up, like the first time I worked with Cozy, because these guys, just didn't take any prisoners, you thought, hang on, if I'm playing with them, they must think I'm in that league, so you better be in that league, kind of thing. Yeah. And working with John especially and Ian in those early days, again, was another very quick 10 steps up the ladder, really, musically and working with those people. John still is will always be a hero to me, because of just the way he conducted himself generally, apart from the fact that I stood next to him for 5 years listening to that incredible playing, and then the other side of me was Ian Pace. So, I had a pretty good run, really. I met David in Munich because we were recording there. David came down to see John and Ian, and that's when we first met. And to cut to the chase, then he came there. Pace Ashton Lord did 5 gigs and 1 album, and then that was all over. And then David was in London, and I went to see a gig. I bumped into him, and he said, I'm here to put a band together, and why don't you come down tomorrow? So that was it. That's how it began.
Absolutely incredible. So what was the writing process like? Obviously, you wrote quite a few numbers, and obviously Here I Go Again, multi-million copies worldwide. Did you know that was going to be as successful? I mean,
Well, here I go.
I know it sounds a daft question. I don't suppose anybody knows, but did you know when you wrote that it was different to anything else you've written, and it was going to have that impact to anybody? You know.
We knew I was that song was around for quite a bit before we actually went to. I didn't do a brilliant demo of it. I did basically a cassette of the basic tune, which was pretty much all together except lyrically. I had some ideas, and then David moved them around, but the song was pretty much ready to go. And when we did the intro, John Lord, I played him the intro on the guitar, and he said to me, "Play that again." So I did, and he looked at me, and John was tall, and I'm not that tall. And he looked down, and he said, "You're a clever little sod, aren't you?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And he said, "There's already a hook in this song, and I'm doing the intro on the Hammond." So that's why on the original version, it starts off with John. And once the song took shape, I knew, we both said, this is a pretty cool song. This will be really good on the album. And what we didn't know at the time was we were weeks away from the band disintegrating. But so it's the last thing I recorded with Whitesnake, looking back on it. So that's a bit of a testament to, don't throw the towel in too quickly kind of thing. But the whole process writing with David was easy. And that was one of the main instigations to put the band together, because he'd been through the whole thing with Richie and Tommy Bolin with the Guitar Hero stuff, and neither me or Mick Moody were not interested in that. We wanted to be in a good band and write some songs, and Dave and I wrote, I think, 3 songs together in the first 4 or 5 days. We were on terms with each other and understanding each other. We wrote "Come On." That was very quick, and he was working on a song called "Bloody Mary," and I was there when that took shape. And within what seemed minutes at the time, we were in the studio doing the Trouble album. So that's when we did kick in, and there's some pretty good stuff. It's very early. Trouble, I always say, has great content. The direction is zero, really, because we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew we were having a really good time in the studio writing some good stuff. The greatest thing with Whitesnake, from my day one till the finish, was no matter how good the backing track was, once you knew he was going to be singing on top of that backing track, it could only get better.
Yeah.
So that was fairly nice thing to have in the back of your mind.
That's incredible. I mean, did you think it would travel so well across seas? I mean, America just blew up in America, didn't it, that song? And it was.
Well, it did, but we went to America with the original lineup on 3 occasions, and we just didn't do any business in America. And it's easy to bemoan other reasons for it, the usual stories about we didn't get support, we didn't do this. But the fact is, America never, seemed to take to that band at the time, even though we toured with Jethro Tull, we toured with Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. David called us the heavy metal sandwich because we were on in the middle of those two bands.
Yeah.
We played in big arenas, we played big shows, but there was never any real impetus about it. So when you go forward to the 87 album, when they re-recorded Here I Go, it was a different time, a different lineup. And as soon as I heard it, I knew then that there was something fairly big in the offing, And then to myself, what do you mean something in the offing? It's already top 20 in America, and I didn't know.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff in between with all the albums, with Come and Get It and Ready and Willing. When Ian came into the band, that was then a key change, within the structure and the setup of the band.
Right.
Does it still? It's just incredible because everything you've just said then, and then obviously a couple of years ago, there's a movie come out, and that's on the movie, and there's shows, and it's a song like for our childhood, it's always been there. That's incredible because that's a lot of musicians for me, or a lot of bands go into this. Maybe I see it as the wrong way. They always, I want to make the money and I want to do this and I want to do that. But myself and Shane has always said, to immortalize a song, which you have successfully done, that's the holy grail. That's the achievement, I think, of any musician. If you can immortalize a song,
Yeah,
incredible.
you're right. I mean, in all of our dreams as being in a band, you want to be successful.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I just, I listen to quite a lot of podcasts with people I find interesting, and a lot of guys they say, "Oh, well, I just want to play the guitar. I wanted to do my thing, and stick to my roots and stuff." And I think, okay, but everybody, when you start off, you want to be a star, you want to be famous, and you want to be rich. You want to buy a Ferrari because, you see guys with it. That isn't going to happen. But if you get a chance to do it later on, whatever, you've probably been through so much before that, that, by the time you get to a certain time in your life, you can do something or you can't do it. That's different. But, I get a little bit, to take it with a pinch of salt when people do say sometimes, no, I wouldn't want to have been, in a multi-million selling band. Well, I mean, I think they would really, I mean, I wasn't in that band, but the song was there and it was doing the business and still is to this day. While we're on today, this being played in America, probably how long we've been on now? 15 minutes. It's probably on in America 100 times.
Yes.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
So, and it's great, but I could listen to that version and people say, "Oh, you must be, paid off." I said, "No, not at all." And that's nothing to do with the financial side of it. I could listen to that 87 album the same as if it had been a Journey album or a Foreigner album. It just happened to be the band that I was in with the same name, but it was nothing to do with the band I was in. It was a completely different setup. David's reinvented himself on several occasions with great success, and you're not going to get anything negative from me about that. And when I get up and play with him now, when he comes over to Europe or whatever, we have a good time. And it works both ways. I still, the song still looks after me and some of the other back catalogue, but Here I Go Again is obviously the big one. Mm-hmm. And, when he said, well, we're still doing well, still doing the song. And I said, yeah, but without the song that broke Whitesnake so massive in America, where would Whitesnake have been 30 years later? So, it's 50-50, really. It's a good job I put that song together in 82. And it's a good job they did it again in 87. So we're all happy,
Yeah. That must be such a great feeling, just walking up to Dave and thinking we did good. Like, here I go. That's just
He texted me. He texted me this week, and we keep in touch. And we've had a bit of a tragedy this week with the loss of Martin Birch, and so he was in touch with me over the weekend. And and Martin, I don't want to bring the level of the show down, but Martin was such an important guy. And like I think I said on my post, just look through your record collections, guys, and see how many times his name is there. You might not have noticed it, but you will if you look. He's involved in so much stuff before we worked together in 76. Then I just mentioned three names, Fleetwood Mac, the Groundhogs, and Gary Moore from before Whitesnake. Afterwards go Rainbow, Dio, Black Sabbath.
Wow.
The list is endless. So Martin Birch,
he
was a giant and a lovely guy, very clever, and going to miss him a lot. I'm in the studio this Friday, and there'll be a bit of a quiet moment at one point because I learned so much working with Martin Birch in the studio.
What was he like working with? Because I've seen old documentaries with him, or he's been like glimpses of when he worked with Maiden or stuff like that. And
he was he was a sarky bugger.
Yeah,
but in a very nice way.
Inspiring one of those producers who gets the best out of you, or
absolutely, but by appearing to try not so ever to do it. There's a song called "Don't Break My Heart Again" on "Come and Get It," and the guitar solo on it is me doing the run through. So I played on while we were setting up. The faders were going up and down. I played the solo, and then said to him, "Okay, Mark, let's go." He said, "We've done it."
No.
And I said, "What?" He said, "We've done it." He said, "It's done." And I went, No. I said, I was just messing. I wasn't messing about, but I'm getting the feel for it. He said, "You've nailed it." And I wouldn't have it. And he allowed me another hour or so to put a solo together. And all the time, as I went for the third, fourth go, fifth go, sixth go, all I could see was this smiling, smirking face in the corner going, "It's my time you're wasting, and you're wasting your time. And we've got it in the can." And the solo that he recorded is the one that you can hear.
I love that. That's amazing.
And he did that on several occasions. He did one thing with me something, and he went. I thought I'd played, one of those things. It was like when you're doing the solo stuff. And I played this solo, and I thought that was pretty. Even though you don't want to say it, that was good.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, and I went, good. And he went, one note samba. And I went, what? They went, da, 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 da. And I said, wait, so in the middle. And I looked back, and I had no idea what I'd played at that point, and he was absolutely on the money. Wow. And every time I think now, 30 years later or whatever, and I'm in the studio doing a guitar part, the moment I go 3 or 4 times on one note, I'm thinking, one note samba, because he's in my head. Yeah. And he always will be, but once again, don't do that, do something else. And he would say to me, what would Peter Green have done there? Meaning not that, but he wouldn't say that. He would say, do you think Peter Green would have played that? And I go, no, then why have you? And so quietly effective, and always with a smile and a grin. And afterwards, should we have, let's go and have a lager now or whatever. He was fantastic and a genius ears, just all the mixes of Martin's on those original albums. And, I can't speak, you can tell I can't speak highly enough, and he's going to be greatly missed. And my condolences to his family and stuff out there, because it's been a pretty tough couple of weeks. So it's nice to talk to you guys now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful stories there. So talking about the studio, did you thrive in the studio? Did you like the studio as opposed to being on stage? Is it kind of...
I find the studio, Cozy Powell is responsible in a way. Before I worked with him, I was always a bit in the studio. My eyes would go, I'm in a recording studio. Yeah. And almost load a bit of pressure on. I think it comes from when we were kids, and it was £5 an hour, and you knew that once you'd gone past 3 hours, you'd spent £15, and we've only done 1.5 tracks and that kind of. I'm sure you've been through the same thing. And Cozy would just turn around to me and say, what's wrong with us? Oh, the time's going on. I said, listen, this is just a place of work. We're here to play. They're here to record it, and then it goes to the record company and they put it out. Get on with it. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? That's not bad advice, So the studio, I think, is incredibly, especially these days, with the beauties of being able to digitally edit and stuff like that, and, everything. But I'm not very technical, never have been really. But it's nice working with the younger people who know their way around a computer and doing all the business. But, I still stand by the old days for analog days, and those records sound pretty good to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't just mean my records. I mean generally,
Yeah. Yeah, our guitarist is exactly the same. He's he prefers. He always says, "Any analog." He prefers it. It's always been the same.
Well, I did my last album about 3-4 years ago, and Abbey Road, and you had the choice there. You could do a little mix of both analog and digital. That was pretty good. Yeah, but to be completely honest with you, I don't know which part was which. Even though they were saying, we're going to go analog here, we're going to go, it was like, okay, sounds good. Sounds really good. Carry on,
Like, we've never done tape and stuff. So was it a big difference in time-wise? Like, when you were recording, like back in the day, is it quicker now? Is it just...
I think it's quicker now. I think it's quick. I dread to think how much time we all spent, and if you added up the minutes, waiting for the tapes to reload and to respool and wind back, whereas now it's literally a second tap of a computer button. But the 2-inch tape was exciting, the 16 track, and then 24, and then suddenly it started going mad. And I don't know, there was something physical about seeing that tape machine click on and going around the spools on those 2-inch tapes. There was something pretty. When I think back on it now, I'm kind of glad I was there and I've seen the differences. That's good.
Yeah, because we've recorded in Rockfield, and they got a couple of tape machines up there, and every time I look at it, I'm thinking, I'd love to do that, just to experience it, just to say you have,
I saw that documentary on Rockfield a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
and really enjoyed it. But I must call Kingsley up because he didn't mention UFO, and my first recording session with them was at Rockfield.
Wow!
So I definitely got an axe to grind with Kingsley.
Get on the phone. Yeah.
That was my first experience of location recording, and Dave Edmonds was producing it, so it was pretty good company.
Wow. Yeah, Dave Edmonds and the Raiders, was he doing that then, or was he doing something else?
No, he was on his own at the moment. Love Sculpture had
his own.
finished, and he was a solo artist by then. He was a big star. He'd had I Hear You Knocking, and
Yeah.
you know, I loved working with Dave. We've only seen each other a couple of times since, but very major artist. I've always been involved with Welsh people.
Yeah. Well, lovable.
I know. No. There's been a lot of that in this. I work with a lot of Scottish guys and stuff, and English guys, but there's been my whole band at the moment are Welsh. All
Yes.
the guys, the guys from Cardiff and around your way. Where are you?
We are Bridgend, so we're only up the road. Or down the road, whichever way you look at it. But we came to watch you in the tram shed with Nev. Nev was singing and Dino on drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Ready and
amazing
willing
players.
Yeah. That was a good night with Chris Barris.
Yes.
Fantastic night. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. The plan was to do another 10 of those this year.
Right.
So that's what we've not been able to do. The Ready and Willing show. So whether that continues into next year, but next year will be the anniversary of Come and Get It. So I might have to fuse the two together. But anyway, we'll decide.
Fantastic. Would you mind, Bernie, taking a couple of questions from the Crow family? People are watching.
No, my pleasure.
We got a couple here. This is from Derek Beecroft. Has Bernie had any scares with his guitars whilst traveling? For example, temporarily gone missing at airports or delayed or mislaid at a gig, etc.?
No, I've been lucky over the year when you consider how many times it's been possible to lose stuff. I think once we had to have a promoter have a guy break into a store in Sweden to get guitars for a gig because ours never arrived. They arrived the next day, but there was a gig that night. And they would say, no, they'll be on the first playing tomorrow. Well, that's not much use for tonight. So I think that was a Sunday night. And the guy had to got the police, and they then broke into a guitar shop and took 2 or 3 guitars out so we could. But no, I've been fairly lucky that way, especially when I think how I used to travel all around this place, all over the world, especially with the Beast, just in a case, and it would go in a hold and everything. But it had a flight case, but even I wouldn't dream taking it anywhere now. But
well, that leads me on perfectly to this next question. Bernie's guitar, the Beast, is possibly one of the most famous guitars in the rock world. Can Bernie tell us the backstory on how he came to own it? P.S. Please come back to the Steelhouse Mountain soon.
We'll do my best. We'll talk to Mikey. I'm sure we'll sort something out. I had a guy. There was a guy who was a kind of a Les Paul connoisseur in the early 70s, and he was kind of sourcing guitars for people he thought should have them, which sounds very presumptuous. I know that he found the one for me, and he found one for, I think, 2 other guys I knew at the time. And he showed up at the marquee one night and said, why don't you use this? And I said, well, how much do you want for it before? And he said, well, let's talk about that afterwards. I played the guitar, and it was just so incredible. The other guitar player in the band at the time accused me of turning the amplifier up from like 6 to 9 because the thing was so loud.
Wow.
And just said, you've got to have that guitar. And I said, well, I suppose so. And when I got the guitar, we came to a deal. I couldn't really afford it, but he was a really nice guy. And he just kept on saying, I think you need to have this guitar. And of course he was right. And only a year later, he came to another show, and he came into the bar, I think before the show, and the guitar was at my side. And he said, how is it? And I said, well, it's fantastic. And he said, yeah. So, well, isn't it amazing that a guitar like that could be let go by somebody like Paul Kossoff? And that's when that kicked in, that he'd bought it from Andy Fraser, who had bought it from Paul Kossoff. So the lineage of it was going backwards and forwards. And then, of course, I've had it for nearly 50 years now. And the mysteries continue because of that, So he said, oh, no, we use that guitar on the Fire and Water album. So, who knows? But Koss had a lot of Les Pauls, but this one came from the guy who sold it to me, got it from Andy Fraser, the late Andy Fraser. And I don't know, it's still mine and it ain't going anywhere, So that's how I got it there. I mean, there's a bit more to it than that, but, that kind of covers how I got it. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. there's another one here. Which one album from your illustrious career makes Bernie the proudest and gets him thinking, yeah, we did pretty good on that one? That's from Grant Nan.
That's I know one album that never got made, which would have been fab. It was the Cozy Powell group, because they had Don Airey in the band, Neil Murray, and Hammer was a very, very special, tight kind of group. But we only recorded sessions for the BBC, and then we were going to be produced by Mickey Most, and he decided that he wasn't going to do it, and came to a sold-out gig one night and said, "We're ready to record." I said, "No, we're not going to do it." He said, "You blokes know what you're doing." He said, "I can't be having that in the studio." So the band broke up very quickly. But I think the album, I'm always very drawn to Ready and Willing, because that was kind of the album that broke Whitesnake into the bigger league. But Come and Get It is, I couldn't, if it had been tomorrow night asking me the question, I probably might say that. I was very pleased with Shine in 2014-15, because I hadn't made a record like that for a long time, and I was indulged by the record company at the time to do what I wanted to do. So Shine is a very, it's kind of a mix of, the me from that period and me now, really. What's nice is when we're on stage playing songs from that album, they get really well received, because it's kind of hard to follow Walking in the Shadow of the Blues. So but we play both, and people are kind and they're nice. So those two albums, but it's difficult it's like choosing your favorite child, really. They've all got something to look back on, and because, as you well know, there's so much more that goes with a recording session than the actual record that finally comes out.
Absolutely.
All the drama, the traumas, everything else. Where's the wine? How was the food? Especially when you're residential, and a lot of those Whitesnake albums were. We did Come and Get It at the John Lennon's house, which was Ringo Starr's at the time. Then we did Ready and Willing at a place called Ridge Farm, and Saints and Sinners was done at Clearwell Castle. So we were always kind of together, and I think that shows in the recordings.
Yeah, incredible. So when you think about, okay, they were the albums, but what one moment when you were playing live on stage, anyone that sticks out where you thought, wow, that takes your breath away?
There's a couple of things that stick in my mind, have stuck in my mind over the years. One was one night at, I think on the Come and Get It tour, Liverpool Empire. So being in Liverpool where the Beatles played, and, being part of that whole thing was how I started. But when the lights went down and there was no really big fanfare, we would just come out and say, and hit an E chord. But the roar that went up in that, I think, 3,000 seater, which it kind of shook me, really made me take a step back. It was amazing atmosphere.
Wow.
And the other one was we arrived at Bingley Hall on a tour, and there was thousands of people, to me, outside the gig. And we went in with the tour bus, and my guitar guy came out to meet me, and I said, because we were a bit late. I think we'd been somewhere. I can't remember what had happened. And I said, when are they going to let the people in? And he laughed at me. He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, there's thousands of people out here. He said, they're the ones who can't get in.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me, like when I went to a Rolling Stones concert when I was 19 or 18 years old or whatever, thinking, God damn, this band, we are really a big band. And the other one, as a third one, it was Donington Park. When we played with it wasn't our show, it was an AC/DC's, but word has it was a bit of a 50-50 on the day. That was incredible. That was when I stood out and tried to do my Guitar Hero thing and hit the chord. And when I looked out front, there's like 80,000 people as far as you could see. But then I looked to my left and my right, and as many people went that way and that way as they went out front. And I didn't want to see that again. I stepped back over the monitors. I never went out there again. That was a big gig. But it was a great gig. Probably one of Whitesnake's greatest, 75 minutes for me.
Wow. Incredible.
There's a lot more, but we'd be going all night. So
yeah, I can imagine it. Brilliant. Have you got any questions there on? I'm looking at the side here.
Rob Evans has asked, Have you personally achieved everything you wanted to achieve in the music business, or is there anything you still didn't do that still niggles you?
No, nothing niggles me. I've been very lucky, fortunate, or whatever word you want to do. I've worked with some unbelievable musicians, one to one. I've got to meet so many of my heroes who've become, friends or whatever you want to call it, but that goes on to this day. Only in the last year and a half or so, one of your local heroes, James Dean Bradfield.
Yeah.
I met at a guitar store thing, and only then did I find out that him and Nicky were huge Whitesnake fans when they were kids. Yeah. And so it goes on. So there's nobody a bigger name than the Manics, and yet that means as much to me as when I first met Jeff Beck with Cozy Powell, when he said a mate of mine's coming tonight, and 25 minutes before the gig, Jeff Beck walks in. And I like quietly lost my mind. Yeah. But he was great. He was really charming and really nice. Looked at the beast and asked me about the guitar. But all I could think of during that gig was Jeff Beck's out there somewhere. Yeah. Same when George Harrison came to see Whitesnake in Oxford one night, and by some sheer coincidence, I could see him clearly in my eye line. Now you know what it's like at a gig; you don't really see anybody. No. But I kind of didn't know where he was, and then I saw him thinking, and all I could think all the way through the show was, "I hope it's not too loud for him." It made him laugh his head off afterwards, and we became pretty good mates, But things like that. So I'm not going to. Moan about not doing something because I've been hanging out with this guy or that guy, and it's been fantastic. I just I'm thankful for everything, and then getting to work with Joe Bonamassa the last couple of years is really again another stage, and when his next album comes out, you'll hear the results, which are just pretty amazing, and he's a fantastic musician, lovely guy. And I'm proud to call him my friend, and even though we are guitar players, we're just people really, which is what I try to maintain. And that's another bit of John Lord and Cozy Powell, still staying with me. So I'm a kind of look forward, I don't tend to want to look over my shoulder and say, oh, I wish I'd have done this or I wish I'd have done that, I mean, after Whitesnake, what I should have probably done or maybe given a chance to, I could have tried a little bit harder to make a name for myself solo in Japan, where I was doing very well as a guitar player, but I felt sorry for myself after Whitesnake folded for like 6 months. Came back, oh, I'm not going to play anymore. I think I might start playing piano, I wish. And so I could have probably done some, but that's the only thing I don't, and that's not a regret. That's something I should have probably done. I might have read contracts a bit better. Right, there might be something to look back on. Yeah. No, that's a definite. I would definitely advise anybody read the contract. Yeah. But that's another story.
That's good advice. So, is there anyone that you kind of wanted to play with but never had the chance to? Whether being a singer, guitarist.
The last 10 years running out, I got to play with Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce.
Wow.
Now, if you go back to that 15-year-old boy going to see the Cream.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Wow.
And not just play with them, be on the fast text phone, whatever you want to call it. Jack Bruce is phoning me up to say, come and play at Abbey Road. And then with Ginger as well. I mean, okay, there's another whole bunch of stories in there, especially with Ginger. But, that's now on my CV in the last 5 years. Playing with the Allman Brothers in New York at the Beacon. Who would have thought that? And yet it happened. So I can't ever say, I'm sorry I didn't do something, because everything that's happened has been fantastic.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I got to get your book, Bernie. I've got to get this book.
Me too.
Available on my website.
There we go. That's incredible. I'm looking, you're on. Is there any other questions? I can't see any.
No, that just blew me away. That did. Before you go, Bernie, I just want to say about Ginger Baker, because he's one of my favorite drummers. the reason why he's one of my favorite drummers, because you got your Bonhams and, you know, when you go through like Buddy Rich and stuff like that, I found that Ginger Baker he had it all for me, because he had the jazz style, the very loose, but yet in the pocket, solid rock. It was almost like you could cram everything into him. Like, and I think even though he's well known, I still think he's underrated. I still think he deserves far more recognition, because I know we said about Cozy Powell earlier, Ginger Baker is a phenomenal drummer, like, you know, so.
Well, Ginger, you know, forget the character, you know, forget all the stories and, you know, the person, because he could be different. When he played, you know, but Ginger would always, I'd not that many, you know, one-to-one, but when we did chat in the studio or whatever at a house at rehearsals, which we could do a whole interview about a Ginger Baker rehearsal, but that's something else. And he was a guy who would always consider himself to be a jazz drummer, who played rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do this, but that came from here. He loved African rhythms. He loved, but he was a rhythm machine, you know, before the term was even probably bonded around, you know, and he could play only the way he wanted to, which just always pretty much worked. When we did the sessions at Abbey Road, when we were doing some Cream stuff, it was incredible, because it was easy to stop playing, because I was just, you know, 2-3 meters away from him, watching him play.
Mm-hmm.
And when one of those Ginger Baker fills happened, I just would go, oh, whoa, you know, and then something happened, the guitar stopped, what's going on, you know? So, sorry, that's me, I'm just getting blown away here, you know? But then instead of him saying, oh, thanks, mate, he would then give me a rollicking for making him do it again. Yeah. So, you know, that's the kind of thing, you know, it's that 50-50 thing with him. But, you know, the fact that it can never happen again now is you know, I look back on it now again, you know, it's always nicer to look back and go, you know, this was actually amazing, but it was amazing. Yes. You know, to be around him wasn't maybe as amazing as it could have been when he was younger. I don't know. But, you know, I could see the way that he must have been so frighteningly powerful in his prime, because he was still playing really good at the time when we were recording with him. Jack was a different thing. Jack was much more the musician to say to you, how do you want to do this? I feel it's like this. Or he wouldn't push you into anything. You know, he wanted you to play the way you play, because that's why he'd hired you to play on his record. But, that, you know, it works both ways.
Yeah, for sure. And
but I've been lucky with drummers, Ronnie. I mean, it's, you know, look at my CV for drummers. I mean, you've got Simon Phillips, Cozy, Ian Pace, Ginger, you know, Jimmy Copley, the late Jimmy Copley, who was a phenomenal drummer. Wow. And there's loads more. You know, Jeff Jones was the original drummer from the Wild Turkey, and he was he was in Man, and he was in Man, wasn't he? Yeah, I mean, amazing guy, amazing player, and all these people who, you know, I think when I did my first solo album, I think Cozy was on it, Ian was on it, and Simon Phillips. And I used to joke about it, but I think it was true. More drummers bought the album than guitar players. At the time, I was the most unknown person on the album.
I love that. I'm looking forward to having a beer with you up the mountain and pressing you on more stories about Ginger Baker and Cozy, especially, mate. That's
Well, you'll be I'll look forward to that very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Bernie, and I'm so glad you got your head round. Honestly, we're exactly the same as you. We've had to learn all of this new world talking thing, whatever it is, but it was an absolute pleasure to have you on and listen to some of those stories.
It's been really good. I really enjoyed it, and you know, let's do it again sometime. Hopefully we can do it, you know, one-to-one in person.
Definitely, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Take
care, and we'll see you soon, mate.
All the best, guys. See you soon. All the best. Bye.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
That's just blown my mind. That's absolutely brilliant. I genuinely, there was so many stories I wanted to ask him, but like he said, he was like, well, that one character he could speak all night about. But I'm really, really looking forward to picking his brains and. Mate, there's just so many people he's worked with. It's just like, it's wow. Like,
you can generally see why people love him though, as a person first, and guitarist, and respect for what he's done. because he's just a likable guy, and he's funny, he's got the stories, but you like the guy first. That's made my night. I'm buzzing. I got
Yeah,
goosebumps.
me too. Yeah, and creatively buzzing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like where you're like, right, I want to jam.
Yeah.
Right, let's get in the boys. Let's get in the boys. China. There he is, boy. There's Dave. And there's Lloyd.
What's happening?
Happening, boy.
How you doing? All right?
How good was that, boys?
That was class. I loved when he mentioned Jeff Beck. It just reminds me of Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Beck popped his head round the corner and said, "There's a little sweet shop on the edge of town."
Yeah.
But then he's just name
He
dropped.
said George Harrison, come and watch him play. I was done.
Oh, I know. George Harrison, like. Oh.
Yeah.
Can you imagine looking out and he's there? You just be like, oh,
I know.
I can't play another note.
Yeah.
The Donington Park made me a bit not nervous, but like, ooh, I hope that happens to us. You know, and he suddenly looked to the left and right, and there was just as many people left and right as what there was out front. So I'm just going to go back a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Donington has, all those people like, and I remember Danny Bow saying the same thing. It was a real poignant time in their band, and Bernie saying the same there. Incredible.
Awesome, man, awesome.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
man, so many stories.
The reason why we do this as well, that was a moment. There was a point in there, right? I'll be honest with you. I did this, and I was staring at him. I completely forgot about the comments. I apologize if I wasn't putting everybody's up. I was so just in that zone of listening to his stories that I just forgot I was doing this. I felt like I was in the pub, or I felt like I was in his house, just genuinely listening to him, so, and you didn't want to interrupt. You don't want to take him off that flow. If anything, when I snapped out of it, I was like, I'd love to ask him this now. I'd love to ask that, but we'd kind of moved on from something. And then I'm like, do I go back? And then I'm thinking, nah, man, hopefully now we can have a really good catch up with him as a band.
I know what you mean, because he has so many stories, and you want to pick apart every story he has. But I think we've done really well considering he was on about an hour and rammed all that in. It was almost like a summary of his life.
Yeah, it was.
I'd love to, like you said, Ron, just to get hold of him up the mountain, beer in hand, and just chew the fat, into detail with those stories. And
yeah, well, he give little hints when he said about Ginger Baker then, because obviously he's got the other side to him.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, man, I'd love to. Do we go down that rabbit hole now? And more importantly, do you want to go down that rabbit hole, Bernie? Are we allowed to ask you about that? Like, am I allowed to press you on that? So, because we're still learning this game, we're obviously a bunch of musicians having a chat. So I don't want to do the hard press thing, but fuck man, I'd love to know what those stories that he couldn't say was. Do you know what I mean? Or he didn't bring up, or yeah.
And he's probably a brilliant salesman there, because now we're going to go and buy his book. So
100%.
That's without a doubt.
Yeah, Waterstones are out of they're sold out, didn't they?
I love that. Stuart Charles just said, get Bernie back on next week.
Brilliant.
We could have well, do you know what? I said this a few weeks ago. There's a few guests, like I'm gonna go back to Ian Dante. By the time we were saying ta-ra to Ian Dante, there was stuff and the impressions that we didn't kind of get to at the first part of the interview. So it was almost the second part there, just having him on doing skits, which would be brilliant. But yeah, there's definitely some of these should be they're two-parters basically, aren't they? They're definitely a week 1, week 2 vibe.
He made me laugh when he said, How long you in UFO for? Oh, about 20 minutes.
Oh. Well, I weren't expecting that, mate.
I could see that because it was quite early on.
Well, I was glad I didn't have my coffee, because that was a spit your coffee out moment, because I was expecting him to do it lasted a few months or whatever. I wasn't expecting fucking 20 minutes. Oh, well, about 20 minutes, wasn't it? And I didn't realize a UFO actually recorded up in Rockfield. That was something I wanted to... I could see, Shane, I didn't know whether you were going to go there or me. I was going to say... But I don't know. There was just so much.
Hey, mate, whatever you were saying, I wanted to write in the private chat.
Yeah, man. That was great.
So good.
Yeah, there we are. Bernie's book is amazing, well worth the read.
There we go.
Get the book, such a great read. Oh well, he's definitely sold some books tonight. It was worth him coming on.
Yeah.
Brilliant, man. He was
Sold two
really
just on you.
interesting.
How's the boys then?
Aye, cracking,
Boys are good.
cracking. Bloody warm, innit?
How are you, Davo? I haven't seen him since practice.
All right, I've just been sweating like a madman today. The last couple of days. What else to say? Sweating.
Like
I don't
man.
cope. I don't cope well in the heat, man. I don't do the heat.
Snap, Dave, snap.
How you doing, Shiner boy?
Same as Dave, I think, but don't deal well with the heat.
Don't deal well with the heat. So, Donna Griffiths has said he hasn't put 50 pence in the meter. I haven't heard that for years.
For all you fuckers, put in comment, why am I sitting in the dark? Here's the answer. Royalty haven't come through.
Yeah. I think we got the same contract.
There you go.
You're gonna be loud then.
For me.
Was that just me or?
No, he has gone loud.
Yeah, isn't he?
No, it's back.
Craig Huntley is asking, done any dying this week or what, Dave?
I'll be honest. The heat nearly killed me off. The heat's nearly done me in.
That's funny, it's Craig. Well done.
That's brilliant. And then there's this one off Joshua. Why is Shiner always in the dark? Is he Batman?
Just don't go telling the world I'm Batman.
Oof.
You keep going. I don't know why you keep going loud for some reason.
It does. It's distorting as well.
I can see it like bumping up. It's well, same problem as you had a couple of weeks ago. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, boys.
I tell you, boys, I've been bloody. I'm not complaining about the weather. I know it's warm and everything, but we got to enjoy it, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? But I've been working outside on a roof. Oh, by about 9 o'clock this morning, I was just soaking.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to complain. Not going to complain. I mean, it was like walking off the fucking plane in Spain. Do you know what I mean? You know, when that heat just goes woo.
Yeah.
I mean, we all moan, don't we? Do you know what I mean? We all moan, oh, it's cold in the winter, but we got to enjoy it. Got to enjoy it.
Yeah, man. I've enjoyed it. I have. Like me and Shane were saying at the top of the show, we've been like going down West Wales and stuff like that. Like, so I've been working hard, walking down the beaches, basically, visiting all the coastal areas and stuff. Like, so it's been lush. Like,
Yeah, man. Right, should we have a question, boys?
aye.
Let's have one.
After seeing the announcement on Monday that you will be hitting the road across Europe in February, supporting the Mighty Dead Daisies, how excited are you about it? And are there any places on our long list of cities you are looking forward to the most?
Amsterdam.
Oof. Let's have a little look then, innit? There it is.
There he is, boy.
There he is.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam for Shane, is it?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
I'm really looking forward to Vienna.
Oh, yeah.
No, it'd be nice to go back there, because like you guys know, my brother lived there for a few years, and we used to go visit him. But it'd just be nice to go back. Do you know what I mean? But this time, for the reason we're going back is, because we're playing there. It'd just be nice to. It's one of them places I thought that I might not ever go again.
Yeah.
So
Budapest for me, I think.
George Ezra, yeah.
Good things about Budapest. I've not been, and it's on my list of places to go. So that'll be a good one to check
George
off.
boy.
Yeah.
Why Amsterdam, Shane?
You know, Harriet. You know. Everyone knows why. It's such a fun place.
So Rob Evans is asking, is the Yellow Cafe still there? He probably means the Mellow Yellow, does he? Which was the first ever coffee shop in Amsterdam, apparently.
Cool.
And I'll answer your question. I went there. I ran a marathon there about 5 years ago, and yes, it was still there at that time. But that was 5 years ago. So,
Budapest is ace.
Budapest? Did he just say Budapest?
Budapest.
Where's that?
it's a
That's not on the
religious,
board, is it?
festival.
Festival of Buddhas, Budapest. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Grant said Vienna. This means nothing to me.
Nothing.
Shiner, anyway, you're looking forward to going?
Are we Prague is on there, isn't it?
Prague is on it.
Oh, it's going to be chilly.
Oh, dude, that's like looking at the
Yeah,
travel.
I'm gonna say Prague.
It's like
It's
looking
going to be
at
chilly,
holiday
boy. It's the
catalogue.
middle of winter in Prague. Oof. Better take a coat.
Oh,
That's like the city breaks
that's
brochure,
Dave,
isn't
you
it?
know me. I love wearing a coat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some banging cities: Barcelona, Milan, Lyon,
Yeah.
Zurich. Get to
Paris,
Zurich.
Madrid. Look at that. It's not
Berlin.
bad.
Europe's an amazing place. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paris.
It'd be bloody good.
Tout
I
le
can't
monde. Tout le monde, Rodney.
One's two.
Bonjour, Rodney.
I can't wait to see Dave in Italy. I need to comb your hair.
una bottiglia del vino rosso per piacere. That's all you need to know.
This man is a psychopath.
You've moved your chair today. You haven't got your fez on.
No.
Yeah, I know. That was did that on purpose.
Ah, good man. Good man. Good man. Yeah, Amsterdam for me, I think.
Yeah.
Just looking forward to it. I've never been, so
Buckbegg's a good venue. Good venue.
I'm looking forward to it. And if everybody has noticed as well, it's our last date of that tour. So I'm definitely.
Some of us
looking
ain't coming
forward-
home.
I am looking forward to the dam.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Ron, when we're there. I'll take you to the I'll take you to Excalibur's. They got this guy behind the bar. He's there every single time you go, and he's a drummer.
Yeah.
He's always playing drums on all the lights and stuff. There's lights that go across the bar, so you can have a nice
Oh, wow.
drummer chat with him.
There we are. That sounds banging. That sounds banging.
Does he speak English?
Yeah, no, he's a nice bloke. Good bloke.
All right.
He's
Got me pissed last time.
Dave on first name terms.
Got me pissed on vodka.
Was that when you had to run the marathon the next day?
Yeah. I woke up on the floor next to the
Oh,
bed, and I woke up. I was like, "Oh fuck! I got to run a marathon."
Yeah.
Right,
Craig,
did
get
it.
us going on the mask.
Many beers after. Yeah, Amsterdam's the last date.
Broken.
So I think that's the. Yes.
What? The banana bar. It's a good place to
Banana
go.
bar.
Aye.
So all in all,
What they sell here?
a great, exciting announcement.
Yeah.
And something we're really, really looking forward to. And fingers crossed, we can keep moving forward, I suppose. But being realistic and knowing what's going on in the world. So, but it's nice to have something to look forward to, you know, because I know a few people kind of were like, oh, you know, is it going to happen? But, you know, it's always nice to have something in the calendar and look forward to and start planning, like, you know.
Oh, aye.
Oh, aye.
Oh, aye.
Yeah, we'd be all right, boys. Russia's made a cure, so we're all safe.
Russia's made a cure.
Is that an exclusive, Shine?
Yeah.
It's not a bottle of vodka now.
No,
is it?
don't lose yesterday.
Yeah, well, man, not another gun incident.
Should we give something away then?
Yes.
Hey, my dignity.
That
Have you
went
got your-
ages ago, Dave.
No, that Dave, that went a long time ago.
A
You've
long
got your
time ago.
acoustic. He's got his acoustic. Hey, Dave,
Yes.
check us out, Dave. Dave, check us out. Oh, unlucky Dave.
Oh, who does he think he is, man? Who does he think he is?
Fucking Tony.
Ronnie actually said you would say that.
Yeah.
Know me
Put
so
your fez
well.
back on, Dave. Put your fez back on. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line? So this week. Oh, I'm back to square now. Was I big on that one, Ron? No? Wasn't, was I?
No, I didn't want Dave to kick
No,
off.
Dave,
Sorry, Shane.
Dave was kicking off, but
That's okay. Fair
Very
enough.
wise. Very wise.
I know my place. It's so the winner of this will win a signed poster. The white poster, we've all signed it in rehearsals last week. And the lyric is "Want off this ride. Want off this ride." What's the lyric that follows? Go.
And while we're waiting for that answer, boys, I watched a film on Netflix this week. Have any of you seen Eurovision?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't seen it, but I want to.
Volcano Man is brilliant.
It's the opening scene, Gabby, when he's going to go, oh, 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 oh.
It's Will Ferrell, isn't it?
Yeah,
And the makeup.
brilliant. I love
It's
it.
bloody brilliant, man.
Will
Oh,
Ferrell can't do anything wrong for me. Anything
No.
he's in. It's the same with Adam Sandler. Him and Adam Sandler. Any film they're in,
Today, Junior.
oh,
Oh, mate, honest, I had to watch it twice. You know when he's ripping into them those Americans,
yeah,
and then giving him a lift.
yeah. It's brilliant. It's classic Will Ferrell, man. It's brilliant. Love it.
It is class.
Have you seen that one yet, Shine? Or
no, I haven't. No, I just been like downloading loads of music.
yeah, it's brilliant.
So
It's,
no
it's
films.
great. That is.
No, it is good. I tell you, there's someone else I watched as well. I don't know if you guys are into it. Fear City. It's about the mob in New York, like from the 70s onwards, and how like old detectives sort of like bugged them and how they brought them down.
What's it called?
Fear City.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's it's about like the mob in New York through the 70s and up.
Yes, I apologize. Yes, I have. I started watching I think I've watched 2 or 3 episodes of that. That's
Really
pretty
good,
cool.
man.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I didn't really know the name of it. I kind of put it on thinking, oh, this is, is it a film or whatever? And it's one of those Netflix, kind of like The Last Dance boys, those kind of, how they
that's
shoot
it.
them.
Yeah.
Really cool, that is, Lloyd. I think I've got about 3 episodes in, mate. Yeah, very cool.
It's some really like just. I don't know, like I didn't realize there was so many families. I knew they were like there was a few, but I didn't realize how many there actually were which run New York.
Yeah,
But-
and what else did I watch the other day? I've started watching is Umbrella Academy. Have any of you caught that?
No.
Oh, that's Jared Way, isn't it? From My Chemical Romance. He's the director, is he? Or
No, well, he might be the director. I'll have to have a look at the
Nothing to
credits.
do with it, isn't
He did a dark comic book. I mean, someone can chirp in and say if I'm wrong or whatever, but he did one of those comic books, and it's an adaptation from that. But it's just really cool, man. It's something that on a first look I thought I wouldn't get into, but I've kind of grown fond of the characters and stuff, like, so I don't want to give too much away, but it's, that kind of magic, bit X-Men kind of vibe, special powers, really cool. Or have any of you caught that or tried it? Or
No.
but he's seen it on the listings on Netflix, so I'll definitely give it a go.
yeah, there's a few people. Yeah, there we are. Claire Kidd's just confirmed. Debs Adams, loved Umbrella Academy, Dark Horse comic. Yes, he did the Dark Horse comic with somebody else, and then obviously they've taken that and turned it into the Umbrella Academy. It's really cool, man. Just really good twist on something. But
Cool. I'll check that out.
Tidy. There's some really good stuff on there now, isn't there?
Yes.
I don't know, like I've been trying to get my hands on it's not actually on Netflix, but we've seen the film The Festival. It's a couple of the guys from the In-Betweeners. They're in there and they like basically go to a festival. But like I've only seen like snippets of it, and I was like, oh, I really gotta watch that. But, like it's not on bloody Netflix. So, come on, Netflix, hurry up.
Yeah,
No,
keep happening.
Yeah.
No, it's meant to be really good, so that's on my list as well.
Harriet Breezer said you should watch The Boys on Prime. I've watched that, Harriet. It was brilliant. That was quite dark. I don't know if any of you have seen that. That's a very dark version of like a superhero series. It's really dark, like proper dark. Like it's just, yeah. It's not. It's because there were certain scenes I'm starting to think now. Where you might. It's really dark, like stuff where you watch and go, are they allowed to do that? Almost like Ricky Gervais with their
Afterlife, is it?
Afterlife, but obviously he does it where it's comedy. It's like and dark, and so it's comedy and then something real.
The postman in that, he was brilliant. He was in Afterlife.
China's Room, is it?
A few people that don't watch it. It's terrible.
Ooh.
Oof. Joshua, need to watch Umbrella Academy. Do you like Netflix docs? Yes, love them.
Oh yeah, all about the documentary. I am.
Yeah, man,
love it.
Oh, I did watch The Joker.
What, the film?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good film.
I think I watched that Friday.
So good, that is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that either, so.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I got a lot of watching to do. Sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We got a winner, guys. A competition winner for what's this competition called? What's the next line?
What's the next line? That's what it is.
That's what it is. And what it is. Want off this ride. What was the lyric that followed? The answer was, "It's time to live again." Off the song Behind These Walls. And the winner is Yvonne Collins. Congratulations, Yvonne. Yvonne Collins.
Congratulations, love.
You have won a signed poster. Congratulations. Write that down.
Smashing. Should we do a pro wheel?
Write that down.
Double up on the giveaways.
Why not?
Why not, innit? Feels like
it all away.
Night. Let's give it all away.
Give it away now. So yeah, this is a choice. This is obviously for a member of the Crow family, paying it forward. Thank you so much, guys. So you can basically choose anything you want off the web store.
Have you got air conditioning units?
No, there's an idea. Here we go.
Hello, please.
Go on, Dave. No? Right.
No. He's just standing out and smiling now.
Okay. Winner is...
The winner is...
No Knox. Woo. Congratulations, Joe. Send us your address and what item of clothing or what item in particular you want from the web store, and we'll sort that out for you. Well done, Joe.
Little tip for you. Choose the most expensive thing. Little tip.
Already have the most
Insider tip.
There we are. Yeah. Well,
Do
moving
you know
on.
where? Do you know where?
Moving on.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
That's incredible. You've even got Ron dressed up as a chef holding a sign, look.
You, Greg. You want to thank Rob Evans for that, Dave. He sent me. He didn't know if any of you knew, and I told him the truth. I hadn't shown you because I wanted to see what the reaction would be. But yeah, thank you, Rob Evans. Sent that in. Back to crap. Do you want to sing a song over that, Dave? Or
You've got to throw me off now. Like, Dave's facts or bollocks. Dave's facts or bollocks. Dave's facts or bollocks. Is it true? Is it true? Dave's facts or bollocks. Is it true?
That's the best.
Oh, there he is, full screen.
Oh, you throw me off. Like, you really throw me off.
Put your fairs on, bud.
Put your face on, bud. Have a fucking skittle and calm down.
He loves the big screen, doesn't he? He loves the big screen. Look at him.
Yeah.
Right, so if you hold your nose or you plug your nose,
Yeah.
if you bit into an apple, a potato, or an onion, you wouldn't notice the difference.
No.
If you just simply hold your nose.
Right, we need to test this. Anybody got all three?
Most people would have them in your kitchen, wouldn't they?
I haven't.
Everyone go
I
grab them.
haven't.
No.
Hold your nose, bite into an onion, see how you get on.
Okay. If anybody,
Radio.
I love the fucking
anyone from the-
statisticness in it.
if anyone from the Crow family has got all three and they want to test that theory out of Dave's, yeah, go for it. Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People go and eat
Enjoy
their
your
raw
onions.
onions just for Dave.
Yeah, we're not, just as a disclaimer, health and safety, obviously, if you're allergic to onions
Yeah.
or, you know, if you end up chewing off your nose or something like that, that's, you know, we're not
Yeah.
telling you to do it now. If you
Yeah.
would like to do it, obviously, it's at your own risk.
You trip over the potato.
Yes, please
Yeah.
read the small writing.
Brought
I
to
didn't
you
even-
by Tesco's.
I didn't even put a
Grocery
disclaimer
Store.
up then. Sorry, Dave, I didn't even put your disclaimer up, but a lot of people are saying bollocks anyway, so
Bollocks.
don't ever give up guitar, Dave.
Bollocks.
Are you drinking, Dave? A few people have asked that because apparently you were off the drink for a few weeks.
Yeah. So
That didn't last very long, did it?
it's been a few weeks. Been a few weeks.
Been 6 fucking days since last episode.
No, it hasn't, man. This is the week before. Like, it's been 2 weks now. So
When did
You
you
said
pick-
a month
hang on.
originally.
Hooray!
Hang on, when did you pick up that wine from Charles, wasn't it?
Right. See,
that
the
was-
funny thing about that is,
It's gone.
wine doesn't count though, does it? Wine's not alcohol.
Ah.
Yeah, people are saying you should go and get an onion to prove the fact is right. It's content, Dave. It's content. Content,
Oh,
Dave.
Dave.
I
If I get a
think.
potato, I'd rather eat a
Look,
potato just in
How
case.
how about this? If Shane does what's the next line, right? You can come back and we can see if that's a fact or bollocks. Have you got time to
Alright.
get an onion? Have you got an onion? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Tesco's the end of your street. Get over there now.
All right then. Right, go and get an onion, and we'll do what's the next line.
Go get an onion. Go get an onion. Go get an onion. It's onion time.
Right, now he's gone as well. There we go, Shane.
Ah, I don't look at the screen. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line?
Right, everybody, it's like a panto. Don't tell Dave Shane had the full screen. All right? Don't tell him. Don't tell him
Tell
now.
him.
Don't tell him he had the full screen.
I'm listening in the wings, you know.
Shit! Oh, he's behind you! He's behind you!
So
Yeah.
what I've got is I've got half an onion from when I cooked yesterday, right? It's half an onion.
All right, let Shane do what's the next line, and we'll come back to the onion.
Is that okay, Dave?
Yeah.
Cool. So the line is
Yeah.
the kingdom has turned to dust. The kingdom has turned to dust. What's the next line?
And someone else look out for the answer because I'm going to be
Yeah. I'll
too busy choking on an onion.
There we go. So for those who are entering that, you get to win one of these. Now, sadly, somebody didn't come forward for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have one of these up for grabs. So the winner will get a Planet Rock live broadcast set list, all signed by us, because somebody didn't come forward to claim it. So you lucky buggers. Right, Dave versus the Onion. Fact or bollocks? Over to you, Dave. Oh, you want the full screen, don't you, love? You want the full screen, don't you, love?
Just peeling the skin off.
Oh,
Lisa's gonna love you later, but
love it. Content, innit? Content.
she's gonna be sick now.
So hold on a minute. What I didn't establish was they all taste the same, but what do they all taste the same of? Like, do you know what I mean? So do they all taste of onion? Do they all taste of potato?
We're gonna find out now. You're gonna tell us.
Yeah, because you're going to
Oh,
try
we got
every
one,
single
so-
one.
Oh, you've only got an onion.
Yeah.
Probably gonna
Aye,
taste
well,
like an
no,
onion.
you can eat the onion anyway, can't you?
Yeah, go for that. Go on. Take a big knife. That's it. See? Take a nice bite now.
Hey, Dave, I bet it tastes like an onion. What's it taste like, Dave?
No, it tastes of onion.
Told you.
Oh,
So no. It's not done yet. So to prove my theory correct, they all need a taste of onion. That's quite nice.
if your nose is blocked, you can't taste things. So Dave's fact seems feasible to me.
Well, I just proved that wrong.
Yeah, you did.
This is
Pretty
comedy
onion-y.
gold. They all taste
It's
of
nice sip of
nothing.
beer.
I tell you what, Dave, while we're on you, how about you give us a nice big another fact, eh?
Oh, fucking hell. So,
You ready? So let's have another round of this because I'm enjoying this tonight.
all right.
All right. Round 2.
There is a city called Rome on every continent on the planet, bar Antarctica.
See that one more time?
There is a city called Rome, the famous Rome, on every continent, bar Antarctica. Because there's no cities on Antarctica.
Ooh.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, that stumped me, I did.
I got
Unlucky,
bollocks.
buddy.
So where'd you get that fact from, Dave?
Google.
So before that, you didn't know either.
Brought to you by Google.
Bollocks.
It's not bollocks, man.
I love it now. My room's gone all fucking Blue Oyster Club. I don't know what's going on with my lighting now.
I'll be running now. I'm on my way, bud. I'm on my way.
I don't know what happened then.
I'm on my way.
There we are. Hey, there we go. Thank you.
I'm a bit concerned now that when we play our next show, you know, Ronnie gets his Ronnie chant. I'm going to get bollocks chant.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun, Dave.
I want to see you up on the ego box going, yeah, I know.
Turn the old in-ears down, like turn the old ambient mics down.
I kind
Or
of
they'll
hope,
just, or they'll just throw onions at you.
yeah.
Don't do it, I'll be crying.
I kind of hope for the sake of our careers, we don't play download and 80,000 people start shouting bollocks at the band. Or as Shane just said, start throwing fucking onions at the stage.
Yeah.
Oh man, what have I done?
Right, we've got a winner of the lyric game. The lyric was, "The kingdom has turned to dust." The following lyric was, "Never be the same again." And I do believe the winner is Shelley Skerritt.
Hey, well done, Shelley.
Congratulations, Shelley. On its way to you.
Smashing.
Write that down.
That's right.
That's right.
And while we're on a roll and giving everything away, as Dave said, pick the most expensive thing. Let's do a crow wheel.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
No.
He's turned into right diva, haven't he?
Oh,
Go on in. When you're ready.
He's got his own show now, hasn't he?
You're
oh, sorry,
ready.
Dave.
As
You ready,
were.
Dave?
Yep.
Here we go.
He frozen, man.
And the winner is Stuart Bevan.
Hey, well done, Stuart.
Let's do.
You. Well done,
What
Stu.
you want,
Well done,
Fred?
Stuart.
Pick what you want from the web store. Give us your address, and we'll sort that out for you.
Take it. It's fucking yours.
Fucking it was, man.
Fucking yours. Fucking
You
yours.
car, Bryn. You car. Fucking it was.
Everything must go.
While
Oh.
stocks last.
And roar of the
brilliant.
management.
Brilliant. Hey, boys, we've had a question.
Oof.
What's your thoughts on performing for smaller social distance events?
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Sorry. What's your thoughts on performing for smaller social distance events?
How's that working?
Well, I know what he means, or is it, or she? I didn't quite. Yeah, he or she. I think it's different for every band. Like, obviously, we're busting to play a gig at the moment, aren't we? So,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a negative thing or a positive thing. I just think anything at the moment is something. Sorry. So anything's a good idea. So I can see people are making efforts and trying to do. What did I see today? Something in Newcastle with the platforms. So as long as they're trying, I mean, the whole point is we all want to see a gig. So same as when we wanted to do the driving gig. So I think any effort is a good effort, as long as that makes sense. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the end goal really is just to get back out playing, isn't it? So, I mean, if this means we can get back out sooner, then I'm happy to do that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if it can be done, if something can be done safely.
I know
Going well.
Fozzy. I know we're talking like the in the States, but I know Fozzy are. I think they're out on tour now, doing social distance shows. Because I follow Billy on Facebook, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as Oliver said, but there's the. I don't want to be too negative about it because obviously, any idea, like I said, any way of trying to do something which is safe, it's got to be something like. But with us at the moment, we've got crew. Like, you know, we were working with Mole the other day. You got Kev, you got Mick. You start to kind of take a crew out. You start to make the show bigger. So you've got to cover the expenses. And when you start doing well as a band, you start signing for, like, you know, bigger agents, or you start signing for what everybody's circumstance is different. So they have to cover all the costs, I suppose. So to go right back and maybe play like smaller gigs, it's kind of what Chris Barras said last week. Is, you know, even though as a musician you love still playing those 100 venues or 50 cap venues, say, for an intimate show,
Yeah.
the money, it's hard working out the cost. The devil, or the hard thing in the room, the elephant in the room, is the cost, in it. You don't really make money. So even though it pleases a lot of people, it's you know, it doesn't really make the promoter money or the venue that amount of money. But I suppose at the moment, as long as you're entertaining or you're happy and you're doing it safely, then I've got no real problem with it, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they could make it work if they'd done it over like a kind of like, say, you might imagine you had a 5-band bill, but they'd done it over like a good, like 2 days or 3 days, so everything's just more manageable. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Give bands longer sets. I don't know. Or am I just thinking out loud for something that isn't viable? Who knows?
I'm all up for those things that we've been seeing. Where do we see them? Where it was like the hotels stacked, the hotel rooms stacked, the balconies.
Well, like on any hotel, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not every hotel like that. You dingwad. You
They
bloody
all got
have that.
balconies on top of each
See
other.
them go by. Yeah. Well, yeah, but just playing a show to that sort of thing. That's a good. That's in my head. That sounds amazing. That is.
Yeah.
That to me is the vibe for me.
Yeah. What's your thought, Shane?
I haven't got any, but tell me with the plane, I'll be here. But until like we have, I don't really know what to comment on that because I know nothing of what it takes, how big a room needs to be, how many you can get in that room. I just think, tell me when and when I'll be here.
Yeah. But for those who are attempting it, I mean, absolutely smashing. If they can make it work, that's brilliant.
I think it's a tricky one because who's making up the rules can and can't do it? I know some people are like tried to put on festivals and kind of said, oh, it's going to be fine in this time period, and it didn't. I think Call of the Wild was pulled today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It is what it is. I mean, we've been burnt. We had a social distancing event to go and it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
just I know, man. It changed tomorrow. So who knows? I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question.
Hold on to a promoter, isn't it? Really, because the promoter generally is the one who takes the financial risk with a show, whether they're prepared to.
Well, I don't know. I think the band do as well, you know?
Well,
Like, go back to Crew and...
but yeah. I mean,
But
if the band put their own show on, then they're the promoter, so to speak, and they. Do you know what I mean? So
we're just talking about finances then, making it viable.
No, but it does sometimes boil down to that. Like, could put a gig on now because they have happened, but so I can't remember who commented and said Frank Turner when, you know, they had a nice venue and they did it socially distanced, but in the real world the promoter wouldn't have done it because it didn't. It just hemorrhaging money because the room was half empty or whatever. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the music thing's a business, isn't it? So, you know, the people surrounding it are all businessmen and stuff like that, as much as we all love it. You know?
That's the thing. I think, like what Shane said, the rules change daily. I'm not quite sure on the actual law of can you perform on a stage, but I know, like, I mean, we've all seen the effects today. I mean, it's all over social media about the amount of people that are out of work. So, you know, like I named Crew earlier, or people we've worked with that you rely on, whether they're doing your in-ears or whether they're doing the sound or whether they're doing the lighting rigs, or even the guys, love them, who, you know, the humpers in venues and stuff, everybody. And then it goes even further then, because it's the actual companies that hire the gear for those guys to work in the venues. So, you know, I think we were talking about it in the last practice when we Shane about SE, they've had to lose a lot of staff just to survive. So it's really uncertain. So where you see positivity, you also see the reality, which is like we're still kind of facing it week by week, and we like, you know. So I think for us personally to be back in a room, and Music Box, fair play to them, they've done everything correct there. I think the whole layout is brilliant. How you know, and the way they've spaced the bands out, as in
staggered bookings.
Yeah, staggered bookings. So, you know, they've still got a flow going through, but it's very, very safe to be there. And it contains everything that's around it, and it's given us the chance to be back in a room. And I know, answering a question that just popped up by you now, by Joshua, have we been writing? Yeah, that's given us the chance to get together and move that forward even more now. So you just got to look at those positives, and then, like Shane said earlier about being on Planet Rock, and, you know, it was a great experience, but without the crowd, we rely off the crowd. I mean, I suppose it goes back to like when we started as a band, boys, and we were playing to like 15 people. It would be, it's almost that environment, which is still really hard to give that full show in it, like, you know, just so 15 of your friends can kind of watch.
It is, but I think I said this to Lloyd. I think if we were in that environment again, I think it'll be 10 times better. It was just strange.
Yeah.
That's all. It wasn't. I didn't feel like abnormal because we were on stage doing what we do, but it just felt different. And I think a couple of those under your belt. I think
it was just the first of its kind, wasn't it?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. So
first of its kind.
I'd be up for doing a few of them over the next couple of weeks, months, whatever. I'd be well up for doing them. Because I think
you could do a residency. I know it sounds mad, Shane. Like Aerosmith in Vegas. I'm going that big with it. Okay, I've gone there. I've gone that big. But if we jokingly say in a pub garden, the 15 people can come in, then fuck it. Then we play to 15 people every night for say 2 weeks.
Yeah. Fuck, we'd be tight as fuck by the end of it, wouldn't we?
Yeah. I definitely won that 14 show if you were buying tickets. Yeah. But yeah, like a residency, almost like just playing every night in a certain.
But non-Paul is a shame.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
No man, never, wouldn't he?
But on that note, like I said, it's we'd all love to play. It's just whether we can make it work. Anybody who is making it work or trying to make it work, good on him.
Dave Grohl said it right. Right at the start of lockdown, he said all the gear's in the truck. It's ready to go. As soon as it's safe to do so, we'll be back. Just unfortunately, it's lasted a bit longer than everybody anticipated, isn't it?
Yeah, spot on.
You know,
spot on.
Just got in, but cool.
On that note, we have rehearsals in the morning, which is really exciting. So go on and shine a boy.
Ladies and gentlemen. One-liner, shiner.
Here we go again. Right. Yeah, hang on. Right, before we get to that, anyone on this internet-y thing, I need new guitar straps. So, anybody who makes custom guitar straps, let us know.
Wink, wink.
My shoulders. Yeah, my shoulders done. So,
have a boy, right? I like her.
Yeah, I thought someone might know someone who makes them, and then I can have what I want rather than, just putting up with what I have to.
Yeah.
So, on to the one-liner. Nice simple one. 3 rules of music. The song. Rule 3, see rule 1s and 2.
I agree.
Love it. Massive thanks to Bernie for coming on. Amazing guest.
Incredible.
For anybody who hasn't seen tonight's show, let them know, share it. Hit us up on YouTube, subscribe, like, hit the notification, spread the word basically. Visit our online store where we've got Reaper t-shirts, Crow and Lucky Boys, CrowCast t-shirts, Devil in My Pocket merchandise, and we've even got CrowCast women vests in at the moment. But that's been great. Awesome catching up with you. See you guys in the morning when we make sweet music.
Thanks, everybody.
Hopefully it's not too hot.
See you next week for episode 22.
Bye-bye.
That's all, folks.